Today is going to be a little bit of a mixed bag. We're going to talk about food versus mood and a few other things. Hello everyone, Semi-Retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Just like that, you saw all the snow in yesterday's video. It's now 58 degrees outside, and it's supposed to get up to almost 70. Yeah, you gotta love Nebraska in the wintertime. I guess it's technically, well, it is still winter, but as we move towards spring, we have these up days and down days. And just be careful not to get sick, because I sure did a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. Basically, what you're watching here is you're watching me walk. 22 months ago, I couldn't do this. I could barely stand without severe pain. Now I'm out here walking every day. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. It means a lot to me that you choose to spend just a few moments of your day with me. So I'd like to ask each and every one of you to help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. I'm 60 years old. I'm doing things I couldn't do when I was 40. So why don't you go ahead and hit that thumbs up, drop down in the comments and say, "Hi, Bob." If you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. Before I get to the food versus mood, I do want to address one comment I got yesterday. Not a bad comment, just pretty much a question, because yesterday's video was about intermittent fasting. And I had somebody, I forget exactly what the comment was, but they were having a hard time coming up with a fasting schedule because they're actively trying to put on muscle. And this is all going to tie into my weekly wins too, because we forgot to talk about those on Saturday. The two main sources that I get this from, if you're not watching Jonathan over at Carnivore Muscle, you should, especially if you're in the process of trying to put on muscle. And you should watch Coach Bronson. They both have videos where, yes, fasting is very good for you. I stand by everything I said in yesterday's video. But if you are, and I'm not talking about people like me that are just your average Joe walking down the street trying to get a little healthier, trying to keep a little bit of muscle tone or gain a little bit of muscle tone. That's not who I'm talking about. But if you are seriously trying to bulk, put on muscle, then providing your body with the protein it needs to build those muscles might be a better way to go rather than fasting. If you're in the process of building muscle, you should probably be eating. Now, you might just do a one meal a day like I do, but trying to do an extended fast while actually building muscle, bulk style muscle, might actually be counterproductive for you. I don't explain this very well. I suggest you go watch some Coach Bronson videos and some Carnivore Muscle videos, because they can give you much better guidance on this than I can. But let's talk about food versus mood. I usually turn around right here, but we're going to go on up the hill here because it is such a beautiful day out. But I got this, obviously I was watching Coach Bronson, and he was talking with Coach Steven over in the UK. Just a couple of days, the video is just a couple of days old. If I remember, I'll link the original video down in the description, but almost every time I say that, I forget to do it by the time I get back into the house and start putting things together. But I found the concept interesting. And it applies more to people just starting out. But I think it can help any of us. If we're eating something, I'm not saying track. I'm not saying, you have to watch everything you put in your face. All I'm saying is when you eat something, keep a little journal for a couple of weeks. And just notice what kind of mood you're in after you eat it. An hour after, 2 hours after, 3 hours after. And if you find something that is making your mood worsen, you might consider cutting down on or cutting out that food. If that food doesn't keep you satiated, let's say you had whatever it is, but you ate, and then 2 or 3 hours later, you're hungry again, note that down and see if it becomes a pattern. That every time you eat that food, that you feel very satiated on when you finish, but then a couple, 3 hours later, you're hungry again. Perhaps that's not the best type of food for you. That's what I really like about this way of eating, is we get to do so many experiments on ourselves. We can try something for a week or two and see if it works for us. And that's really the point of today's video, is that yes, we are all human beings. Yes, we are 99.5% the same. It might even be more than that. It might even be 99.9% the same. But we do have these little differences. Some of us do very well on ground beef. Some people not so much. Some people do okay on eggs. Others not so much. And if we keep one of these food versus mood journals for a couple, 3 weeks and see if we notice any trends, we can then make the adjustments to our diet. But we are going to talk about weekly wins here for just a moment, because I forgot to do that on Saturday. I had a pretty good one. Now, I have always said that I'm not going to take my shirt off on camera. And I stand by that. I'm just not going to do it. So, my weekly win, you're just going to have to take my word for it. Going back even to when I was in the Army, 40 plus years ago, because I was a desk jockey, I didn't get nearly the physical exercise. Yes, we had to do physical tests every now and then, but if you're thinking, all these shows that are out there with, the Navy SEAL training or the Ranger training, it was nothing like that. I mean, you had to be able to cover a mile, and I don't even remember what it was, but you had to be able to cover a mile in a certain amount of time, do a certain number of push-ups in a certain amount of time. And compared to the people that were actually, being combat type soldiers rather than desk jockeys, what we had to do as desk jockeys was actually very laughable. But I had just got done watching a Jonathan video over on Carnivore Muscle, and I thought, I've been working up on these push-ups for a while. So I took my shirt off and stood in front of the bathroom mirror and did the flex thing. I won't say it was astoundingly awesome, but doing the flex, I actually saw muscles moving. Like I said, I can't show it to you. Between my sternum being all deformed and I still have chest fat, let's call it that, because that chest fat sounds so much better than man boobs. They are going down, by the way, but I still have way too much chest fat, and my sternum's really gross looking. So I'm not gonna take my shirt off on camera. But with a flex, underneath the chest fat and the skin, I could see muscles moving. And did they do that when I was in the Army? I don't know, because I was never a vain enough person to stand in front of a mirror and flex. I was just curious, which is why I did it this time. And, you know, with the flex, I could see a little definition in my abs, some definition in my chest, some definition in my arms. I've never had that before. And I certainly wouldn't call what I'm doing heavily working out. I would still call what I'm doing barely working out. You know, I do 2 sets of push-ups every other day. If you wonder why I do them every other day instead of every day, you should be watching Carnivore Muscle and Coach Bronson. And even Professor K talks about how you need to make sure you get plenty of rest in between your exercise runs. But if me, the 60-year-old retired truck driver that's never had muscle definition in his life, can get muscle definition out of slowly plodding along over the course of a year, perhaps you can too. I'm not saying you will, but perhaps you can too. And that is my weekly win. Go ahead and drop down in the comments. Since I forgot to do this on Saturday, drop down in the comments and let me know what your weekly wins were last week. And that's what I've got for you today, folks. Hopefully some of what I said today makes sense. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.